Toronto, the seating arrangement for the Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony had Paul Kariya and Teemu Selanne sitting next to each other in the front row, and it couldn't have been more appropriate. They were together. As they should be. As they were across 6 wondrous seasons together with the then mighty Ducks of Anaheim. As they have been in the weeks and the days leading up to their enshrinement, their official entrance into the gates of hockey immortality. The two biggest stars of an expansion-era franchise that's now firmly into its 25th year of operation became the first two Hall of Famers to have spent the majority of their careers with the rechristened Anaheim Ducks. Also inducted were Dave Andreychuk, a 640-goal scorer and a Stanley Cup champion, and Mark Recchi, a 1,500-plus point producer who won 3 cups with 3 different teams in 3 decades. Canadian women's star Danielle Goyette also went in, as did Boston Bruins owner Jeremy Jacobs and legendary Canadian collegiate coach Clare Drake in the builders category. But the headliners were Kariya and Selanne. The two made the Ducks relevant in their nascent period, providing thrills on a nightly basis while creating a foundation that subsequent teams built on. The past weekend has been a celebration of the private Kariya being back in the spotlight. And the winger delivered his 6.5-minute speech with the kind of style and substance that defined a concussion-abbreviated 15-year NHL career in which he scored more than 400 goals and finished a literal point-per-game player. Kariya thanked Danielle Goyette, his coach at age 15 with the Burnaby Winter Club, for showing him what he could be, and Gary Davidson, his coach with Penticton of the British Columbia Junior Hockey League, for being an incredible teacher and helping him develop as a player under his guidance. For instance, Goyette gave each of the players on his Burnaby team a visualization tape. For the rest of my career, I would spend countless hours with my eyes closed visualizing in my mind being Wayne Gretzky, Kariya said. Coming behind the net and setting up Jari Kurri in the slot. Or going across the top of the circles like Brett Hull, one-timing a no-look backhand pass from Adam Oates. A star also in international competition with Canada, the North Vancouver native Kariya noted how much he cherished playing for his country. He was part of the gold medal-winning 2002 Olympic men's hockey team as well as World Junior and World Championship titles won early on. It was the Ducks who made him their first ever draft pick and franchise player. Kariya thanked original owner Michael Eisner and the team's inaugural general manager and coach, Jack Ferreira and Ron Wilson, for giving me every opportunity to prove I belonged in the NHL and for encouraging me to become a more complete hockey player. But it was when Kariya turned to address Selanne that one of the evening's most poignant moments arrived. The two played only 308 games together in Anaheim, the equivalent of less than 4 full seasons, but created a lifetime bond that went beyond their on-ice excellence. I simply would not be standing here tonight if I didn't get the chance to play with you, Kariya said. We will always be brothers in this life and the next. In his 9-minute address, Selanne went through a laundry list of coaches and players who helped him amass 684 goals and 1,457 points over 21 seasons, while winning a Stanley Cup with the Ducks and multiple medals with Finland in international play. If it was his time with the Ducks, it was Scott Niedermayer, Andy McDonald, Chris Kunitz, Ryan Getzlaf or Corey Perry. He thanked his friend Saku Koivu. He thanked Brian Burke, now the Calgary Flames president, with bringing him back to Anaheim for a lasting second act, and Randy Carlyle, his coach for much of it. And if it was Winnipeg, it was Phil Housley, Keith Thatchik, Thomas Steen or Teppo Numminen. If it was his year in Colorado, it was Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg or Rob Blake. If it was San Jose, it was Patrick Marleau. My goal was to play in the top league in Finland, and my dream was playing on the national team, and my fantasy was the NHL, Selanne said. The NHL felt like it was too far. I didn't believe I'm going to ever make it. But all those things happened very fast. And obviously there's so many people who has helped so much for this journey to making this possible. And then Selanne looked at Kariya. By far the best I ever played with, he said. Kariya drew inspiration from his rugby-playing father, Tetsuhiko, TK, and mother, Sharon. They introduced him to hockey and taught him to be focused, committed and to remain humble and thankful regardless of the outcome. His brothers, Steve and Martin, fostered competition and his sister, Noriko, was praised for looking after me since I was in diapers and allowing me to focus 100% on being the best hockey players I could. Kariya also thanked his longtime partner, Valerie Dawson, with helping him through the post-concussion symptoms that ended his career. The two also pointed out their longtime Duck center Steve Ruckin, who was in attendance and often did all the duties that weren't glamorous on the ice, so both could work their magic. "Thank you for doing all the things I couldn't do on the ice," Kariya said. "Like forechecking, backchecking, going into the corners or playing defense. Just to name a few," said Selanne. "Steve has a really sore back because he has been carrying us all those years." Jean-Sébastien Guéguier shares memories of playing with Paul Kariya and Teemu Selanne. SENG. Scott Niedermayer won the 2003 Stanley Cup with New Jersey against Kariya and held it again with Selanne in 2007 after joining the Ducks. Niedermayer was glad that he only had to deal with the pair twice a season when they were at the height of their powers. When they were in their prime playing together, they had everybody's attention, Niedermayer said. "I was out on the East Coast during that time, but we were well aware of what those two were up to, what they were capable of doing. You watch the highlights every night and they were there. And then when you played them, you got a first-hand experience about what it was like. They both played the game at such a high rate of speed and really fed off each other. They really sort of thought the game in the same way. If one had a puck, the other one knew where to go. And he knew where to look to find him." Burke, the Ducks GM from 2005 to 08, called Selanne a great leader, great player. "This is a guy that played forever in our league. Class act on and off the ice. Gentleman. Good guy. And a Duck." He also looked back at what he could have had. When he was GM of the Hartford Whalers in 1993, the final regular decision made at the year's draft was to take Chris Pronger with the second pick instead of Kariya, a Hobey Baker Award winner at the University of Maine as a freshman. The Ducks grabbed him 2 picks later. "The fight was that we're passing on Paul Kariya," Burke recalled. "If we take Chris Pronger, we're passing on Paul Kariya. This guy's going to score 100 points there in the regular season. Great player. That's the only thing that made us nervous. So for him and Teemu to go in, who were such key Ducks players, it's really awesome and appropriate."